Hello everyone! I hope you're all doing very well today, and I welcome all of you, to another TVP. Now, every now and then, not too often, but every now and then we get paired up with a good player. A player who seemingly has really great in-game sense, who is able to know where our army is at all times and match the army position with his or his own, or just react properly to the tech choices we've made. Now, these players are rare, so even though it may seem like we're playing against one of them, it may actually not be. Now, three players has already come and gone. Our opponent has not scouted us, has not even attempted to scout us, which either means one base, heavy gas type of all-in, or he just doesn't care what we're doing and he's not going to react either way. So we arrive at our opponent's base, we scout about not quite 150 gas mine. We scout just barely started mining gas. There's no chrono boost. We even scout the zealot. So all seems standard and nice here. Standard stuff, as much as it can be. And we're up against Dragon Ball's Goku. Goku-sa. Alright, so opponent is going to be rallying to this little corner here. I'm on his vision cam, by the way. We're seeing exactly what he's seeing. And we're also, well, he's also going to be expanding. I'm going to switch here. So the reason why he's over here is because I have a depot here. And the depot is to spot the expansion when it comes up. This is very useful late game. Not so much early game, not so much mid game, but early game. And after seeing this, you might think, he had no vision. There's no way he could have spotted that. He obviously has map hacks, but that's not the only thing he could have done. I mean, we could have played yesterday or the day before. Me having a bad memory, I might have not remembered. Or maybe he just looked at one of the videos. But the real telltale sign that he's map hacking is that he brings the probes. The Nexus is not, like, it's about halfway done, but you don't bring the probes unless you're planning to mine, or you're planning to buffer for something. So, here in-game this ringed an alarm bell for me, and I was wondering if he was map hacking just because he brought the probes to attack. But we don't know for sure, and we'll never know for sure, just because we can't really know until we watch the replay. We watch it in his view. But I do in this game play I do keep in mind that he probably is a map hacker. I'm not stupid. So the way you play a map hacker is different than when you would play a normal player. It's like playing against a computer. You don't play a computer the same way you play against an opponent human, because they play differently. Same thing here. Now against a map hacker, well, I pretty much have to explain the different types of hacking for this. So there's three different types. I mean, I think there's three. To me there's three, so we'll just roll with three. There is the map hack, which kind of obviously enough is the most obviously used. It lets you grant vision of your opponent's stuff. There's also the production hack, which is kind of like having your own production tab. It kind of lets you know what your opponent is doing, what he's researching, and when he's doing it. Good for timing attacks, defending them, and knowing when your opponent is going for something like a cheeky Templar DT base build or Cloak Banshee and stuff like that. The third one is the micro hack, and the micro hack is used pretty much for Zerg, and that's about it. There's no real way for Protoss or Terran to use it. The way micro hack works is that you select some units and they do something on autopilot for the rest of the game. So a Zerg player might get his queens to larva inject every 40 or 45 seconds or whatever it is. And our opponent does clean us up here. So I just switched to his vision cam just to know what he's doing. So when you're watching a replay of whatever, the good way of knowing if your opponent is map hacking or not is just to take a look at his vision tab. If he doesn't have vision, not trying to get vision, kind of a good tell that he's map hacking. If your opponent is just looking at your base or where your army is and really shouldn't be knowing, then that's another way of knowing that he is map hacking. If he just misclicks and just lands on your army or in your bases, then whatever. But if he continues doing it like this, like in this game, like I'm just showing you, then probably map hacking. Now over here, 1030 is when we pushed out. 1030 is a good timing for us because Stim and combat shells are going to finish very soon. And this is very good against map hackers. Versus everyone in general, but against hackers mostly, because just some of the weaknesses that I've noticed that hackers have. We'll get into that a little bit later. For now, we'll just watch the fight. So our opponent is getting robotics, trying to get Colossus. We do stop that from going on. He tries to defend with some probes. Not a good idea. just now has enough for Photon Overcharge, which he's a little bit slow activating, but that's fine. He's going to activate it eventually and push us back. Alright, so not bad. He does lose a couple of pros, maybe 5 or 6. So as I was saying, when somebody map hacks, there's a couple of weaknesses that I've noticed, a couple of trends that all map hackers share, and even all hackers share. And this comes from the ability to hack itself. Hacking, in general, the purpose of it is to lighten the load, the multitasking required, so that you have the multitasking to properly engage and do whatever you want to do. And because it lightens the load for the multitasking, I found that most players that hack are not very good multitaskers. Just because they never get a chance to practice it, I mean, it's not stretched to where it should be, so they never really get that much better at it. And this is the thing that you can exploit. Right here, you see the workers is still 49. It was 49 before the fight, now it's 49 still. This comes from our opponent's inability to handle multi-pressure harassment. It, I don't know how to explain this properly, but just because he's focused on defending us, it takes attention from building probes, which is one of the ways you can do this. This won't work against high-level players, but against lesser ones it will work. So the multitasking is the first one. Since multitasking is one of them, the second weakness is the ability to, or rather lack of ability, to have several hotkeys devoted to an army. And because of it, they're just used to just balling up, buying time, and just engaging once the army is max. And because of this, because they're normally used to this, they're not used to positioning, and the concept of concaves don't necessarily mean anything to them. Like, of course they heard of it before and everything, but that doesn't mean that they use it in their playstyles. So positioning and concaves is something you can almost always exploit versus someone who's hacking. Now, I will say that, okay, so our opponent warps in DTs and cleans this up. There's nothing much to say there. So another way that you can exploit hackers is to just straight up macro. I mean, because the multitasking is somewhat limited, or more than you can probably out macro them. Like, I'm sure they can keep up on 2-3 bases, but once you have 4, maybe 5 mining bases, you can pretty much outproduce them like there's no tomorrow. So the macro is one of the ways of exploiting him. The third and probably most effective way that I have found is to just harass him on multiple fronts. Because our opponent is not very good at multitasking, and because he keeps his army bunched up in usually one hotkey, in this case, like they might have a second hotkey, but in this case, wow, this guy doesn't have a hotkey for him. Wow, okay, all right, so this guy is a diamond player, by the way. Yeah. You don't really have to worry about hacking in the Diamond League and below, but the Masters and above, there are a couple of good hackers in there. Anyway, so multi-pronged harass will work against hackers. 2 prongs, 3 prongs, very good. I would refrain from medevac drops, especially early game, just because the path you can take, it kind of sticks up like a sore thumb, and it's easy for your opponent to defend if he knows it's coming, which you're never going to catch him by surprise, so yeah. Also, cannons just thwarts any kind of harass, so just be careful with that. I'd favor just going for early bio-heavy armies, so you can force your opponent to try and engage and spread his multitask. So we move out, our opponent is going to react and come to the defense, since he sees we have no intention of passing this way. Behind this, we're also setting up a second prong to attack the natural here, and we do scout that his army is well defended. So we're just gonna push everything into the main or natural and do something from there. So once again, because our opponent keeps everything in hockey and he's used to just max out army engage, doesn't necessarily have the best positioning or the best concaves, and this is something you can always exploit versus someone who multitasks, or someone who hacks, whether it's map hacks or whatever kind of hacks. Another thing you can exploit is actually cliffs and edges. Because your opponent normally has everything into one hockey, the way for them to attack or to defend is to go selected, and the main army goes into one area, the expensive into another. So if you're up against Mutalisks, Vikings, or in this case Colossus, you can pretty much take advantage of the pathing of the units that he takes. Now we do tend to flee just because we don't really want to deal with Dark Templars. So behind this, our opponent lost his third. That's unfortunate for him. Um, this is not very nice. But if you ever want to exploit someone who map hacks, just expand. Like there's nothing more threatening, more scary than having map hacks and then looking at your opponent who has like 4 and then 5 bases while you just barely get your third back up. There's nothing quite like putting pressure on that front. And behind this we have Vikings, we have a big army. We have everything that we need and we're gonna be okay from here. Your opponent has a lot of DTs but is not using them like he should be. Once again, he's a diamond player. Uh, I don't have anything against map hackers. Like, it's fun to go against them because it's a new way of playing, and it challenges you in a way no one else does. So I don't really mind playing against map hackers. Now, here our opponent loses, and he just leaves the game because he realizes he's too far ahead. Having the map hacks, you can pretty much tell that we are ahead in expansions by a crazy amount. And once again, the two main weaknesses that most hackers have is the lack of ability to multitask and the lack of hotkeys devoted for the army. And you can exploit that on several fronts, like I did this game. As long as you keep that in mind, you can always take out someone who map hacks. It's not about surprising your enemy with medevac drops because they'll always see it coming. It's about having a big force and engaging frequently on multiple prongs, multiple harass fronts, so that you can exploit his lack of multitasking. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope it was informative at least a little bit. So you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys next time, and bye-bye for now.